I need to tell you something that might change everything. Today, a confession was made about you. I don't know how you will react, but this person opened their heart and said something that you might have never imagined, or perhaps always suspected, but never heard in full words. They said they still love you, that you've never left their thoughts, even when everything seemed lost. That despite the passing of time, they couldn't forget you. This person spoke of regret, of longing, and of how they feel they failed you. But they also said they're not here to justify what happened, because the past cannot be changed. What they really want is to ask you something simple yet so important. Would you be willing to make room for a new story? To give a chance to what might have been left incomplete, to what was interrupted? This message is not about pressuring or demanding anything from you. It's about the truth. About someone who found the courage to admit they miss you, who still believes in what you both could be. Now, it all depends on how you feel about it, how these words touch your heart. What will you do with this truth? I know that hearing something like this can bring up many things. Perhaps you're wondering, why now? Or, why didn't they say this before? It's natural. After all, when such deep feelings are kept inside for so long, they create a weight, not just for the one who feels them, but also for the one who listens. But despite the passing of time, this person decided they could no longer carry this alone. She said that for a long time she was afraid to look for you, afraid of being ignored, of being rejected, or of discovering that you had already moved on. And yet, she decided to take a risk because she realized that the silence was becoming unbearable. So today she chose to put everything into words. It wasn't easy. It's not easy to admit that she was wrong, that she lost something valuable, that she didn't appreciate it when she had the chance. What became clearest in the confession was that she doesn't expect you to simply forgive everything or to come back as if nothing happened. She knows that time leaves marks, that life goes on, that people change, but she also believes that some connections are strong enough to survive these changes. She believes that between you two, there is still something worth rescuing. Do you know what else became evident? She doesn't want this conversation to be a desperate attempt to reclaim the past. No, she wants to build something new, without the same flaws, without the same mistakes. It's about starting over, but with more maturity, more truth, and with the awareness that every choice from now on needs to be made with the heart in the right place. But the truth is, only you can decide what to do with this. Only you know how you feel about this person now. Only you understand what your past means for your present. And that's okay, you know. There is no right or wrong answer here. What matters is what makes sense to you. If you still feel something, even if it's just a spark, maybe this is the time to open a space for dialogue. It doesn't need to be a big decision, nor an immediate commitment. Maybe it's just an honest conversation, like two people who share a story and who have the right to try to understand what remained unresolved. On the other hand, if you feel that this part of your life is already over, you also have the right to say so. You have the right to protect what you've built since then, to move forward, to respect what you feel now. But even so, maybe this confession will bring you a clarity you didn't know you needed. The truth is that life is made up of moments like this. Moments when we are faced with something that forces us to look inside, to confront feelings we often try to ignore. It can be scary, it can be confusing, but it can also be liberating. Because in the end, this confession is not just about the other person. It's about you, about what you deserve, about what you are willing to live, about what your heart truly desires. So, I ask you, what do you feel now? Because that is what matters. Not what happened in the past, not what might happen in the future, but what is there, inside you, at this very moment? What do you feel when you think about this person? Anger, longing, indifference, hope? Whatever it is, that is your truth. And it is from this truth that you need to decide. And if you decide to take a step, it doesn't have to be a leap. It can be small, cautious, in your own way, in your own time. It can be a let's talk, I need to think, or even an I don't want this for myself. Because above all, it is your life, and you have the right to choose what makes sense for it. But whatever your choice is, remember something important. You deserve love. Not just any love, not a love that comes halfway, but a love that is whole, that is sincere, that is built with respect, with care, with intention. And this is true for anyone who wishes to be by your side, whether someone from the past, present, or future. This confession may seem like an opportunity, but it can also just be a closure, and both things have their value. Sometimes, hearing someone's truth helps us move forward, whether for a new beginning or to close a chapter with peace in our hearts. What matters is what you do with this truth, how you use it to stay true to what you feel and desire. Therefore, take a deep breath. Don't rush to respond or make a decision. Give yourself the time to process all of this. And when you feel ready, do what your heart is asking. Not because someone expects something from you, but because it makes sense for your life. Now, I need to ask you, do you want to continue exploring how this situation can be handled? If yes, I can delve deeper into this conversation with you. If not, I am here to listen to what you have to say. What do you want to do with this now? I understand that you may need more time to reflect. There is no exact formula for dealing with something like this. When someone opens up like this, bringing such intense and true feelings, it can be overwhelming. After all, this person is putting their heart in your hands, but you are the one who decides what to do with it. Maybe you have already gotten over all this, or maybe you have hidden feelings that are now surfacing. Either way, what you feel is valid, and no one can rush you or pressure you to give an immediate answer. This decision is yours, and only yours. Now, one thing that might help you is to think about what this person truly means to you. When you think of them, what comes to mind? Is it the good moments, those when it seemed like you were unbeatable together? Or is it the pain, the misunderstandings, the mistakes that left marks you didn't even know you still carried? If you feel that there is something within you that wants to hear what this person has to say, maybe it's time to allow that conversation to happen. But don't be mistaken. Opening up this space does not mean you need to accept everything they offer. This openness is your choice, and you set the boundaries of what you are willing to experience. On the other hand, if thinking about them only brings the certainty that what you two had is now in the past, that's valid too. You don't need to carry guilt or doubts about how to react. What matters is your truth, and that's what you should rely on. But do you know what is most important right now? That you be honest with yourself. Don't try to convince your heart to feel something it doesn't. Don't force yourself to relive a past that no longer belongs to you. But also, don't close the doors to a future that can be different. Life is full of twists and turns, and sometimes what seemed impossible can become our biggest surprise. This person said they want to build something new, that they want to show you they have learned from their mistakes, that time has made them grow, and that they now understand the value you have. But the question is, do you believe in that? Do you feel that this intention is genuine? Because, deep down, the only way something like this can work out is if both parties are willing to lay everything on the table, to be vulnerable, to truly commit. It's not about starting over from where you left off. That would be repeating the same mistakes. It's about starting from scratch, looking at what you both are now, not what you were before. But for this to work, you need to want it, and you need to feel that it is worth it. Because if not, it will just be another frustrated attempt, and maybe you don't want to carry another wound. So what do you do from here? Maybe the answer lies in what you feel as you read these words. Is there something inside you that is pulling you toward this person? Or is it the opposite? Be honest, even if it means admitting something you would rather not face. If you decide to give it a chance, it doesn't have to be a deep dive right away. You can start with an honest conversation, where you lay out your expectations, your doubts, your fears. Where you listen, but also speak. Because that is the only way to find out if there is still something there, something real, something worth the effort. But if you decide that you do not want to follow this path, it is also important to be clear. Tell this person how you feel, without beating around the bush, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is the truth, even if it is hard to hear. The point is that, at this moment, you are in control. You have the power to decide what you want for yourself, and that is something powerful. But it also comes with a responsibility to be true to who you are, to what you feel, to what you want for your life. Time does not go back, but it teaches us. It teaches us to be more careful, more attentive, more conscious. So, use this moment as an opportunity to connect with yourself, to understand what really matters to you. Because in the end, this confession is not just about what this person feels, it is about what you feel. And only you know the answer to that. If you want to continue exploring this conversation, I am here. But if you feel that you already have your answer, that's okay too. The important thing is that you do what is best for you, without haste, without pressure. Because in the end, life always finds a way to guide us to where we need to be. I know there's still a lot to process, and maybe you're trying to find clarity in the midst of it all. The truth is, situations like this are capable of stirring up a multitude of emotions, often conflicting. Perhaps you feel a lump in your throat, as if something dormant inside you has just been awakened. Or maybe you feel resistance, as if this confession is an invasion into something you had already left behind. Whatever the case, what matters now is that you allow yourself to feel. This person, by opening their heart, isn't just saying they feel something. They are giving you a choice. Not to decide for them, but to decide for yourself. This can be liberating, but also frightening. It's as if suddenly you are faced with something that has always been in the back of your mind, even if you never paid attention to it. You know, there are moments in life when we are confronted with truths we didn't ask for, and that can be uncomfortable. You didn't ask to be the center of someone's thoughts nor to carry this responsibility. But at the same time, this truth can also be an invitation to reconnect with something that, in some way, still is part of who you are. Maybe you remember good times, moments that made your heart race, that brought genuine smiles, that made you feel you were in the right place with the right person. These moments don't need to be erased by what went wrong. They exist, and they are part of both of you. But at the same time, it cannot be denied that the things that hurt are also there. And it's with all of this that you need to deal with now. This person said they want to start over, but without empty promises. They know that nothing will change if you just repeat the patterns of the past, and maybe that's why they've chosen to be so honest. Not because they want to convince you of something, but because they believe you deserve to hear the truth. Because they know there is no other path besides facing what was and what still can be. And here, the question that really matters is, what do you want? Not what would be easier, not what would be expected, but what does your heart tell you when you allow yourself for a moment to silence all the external voices and listen only to your own? If there is something inside you that still feels like trying, it might be worth taking that first step. Not because you need to, but because you choose to, because you feel that despite the risks, there might be something there worth exploring. But if the answer is no, if all you feel is that this part of your life is already concluded, that's okay too. The important thing is that it's your decision, authentic, and that it respects who you are now. This person is willing to wait. They said that even if the answer is no, they needed to say what they felt, because they could no longer carry it alone. That's something rare, you know? That courage to expose oneself, to take the risk, to accept the possibility of hearing something that hurts. But it is also a gesture that shows that, to them, you are worth that risk. If you decide to give this story a chance, know that it doesn't have to be a rushed restart. It can be a conversation, a meeting to talk about what happened, about what you feel. It can be a small step, something that allows you to test the waters without committing immediately. But if you decide that you don't want to follow this path, that's okay too. Sometimes the greatest show of respect is clarity. Saying no is also an act of love, especially when done with sincerity and care. You have in your hands the chance to decide what is best for you, but this decision does not need to be made now. Give yourself the necessary time. Allow yourself to feel, reflect, and above all, be honest with yourself. What you choose now will just be a reflection of what you feel, and that in itself is already enough. Now I want you to ask yourself, if you could say everything that is in your heart, without fear, without reservations, what would you say? Because perhaps this is the key to finding your answer. I am here if you want to continue exploring this. Do you want to? Now, it is with you. What does your heart tell you? Think, feel, and allow yourself to act according to your truth. Whether making space for a new chapter or closing this story with clarity, the most important thing is that you respect what you feel. And before you go, I want to hear your opinion. What would you do in your place? Leave your comment, share your thoughts, and of course subscribe to the channel for more reflections like this, like the video, to support the content and spread this message to those who might need to hear something like this. You are part of this journey.